My name is Ben Savage. I'm a Senior Account Executive with Mission Control here in Aprika Business Solutions. I've been in the Salesforce ecosystem for about 5+ years now and working with Aprika or Mission Control for starting my 4th year actually. And I'm also a certified Salesforce admin. As far as the agenda, we'll go through quick introduction here, Mission Control overview. We'll jump into the demo time, and then we'll pick up any questions from chat and then simply explain how to get started, how quick and easy that is as well. So a little bit as far as who uses it, we've got our project metrics over here. We've got some of our clients that are using Mission Control. Those clients are in over 25 countries. And then here are the different industries that we serve. So we are built natively right on top of Salesforce. The same way that you can customize Salesforce, you're also going to be able to customize Mission Control. So you can add in any type of custom fields. You can modify your page layout. You can also build out your own business logic. Additional benefits include any type of analysis that you might need to do on your project data. You can do that using standard Salesforce reporting and dashboard tools. You can access the data on the go from your Salesforce One mobile app. And from a security perspective, no integrations required. Everything's going to be contained in your own instance of Salesforce. The install and setup just takes a couple of minutes directly from the App Exchange. It's a familiar interface since we're natively built, and we support Classic and the Lightning experience. So as far as licensing goes, in order to access Mission Control, you need a Mission Control license and a Salesforce license. These are the different license types that are supported. In this next slide, this is our feature wall slide. So I'm just going to put everything up at one time and then we'll walk through it. Just know with Mission Control, everything that you're looking at in the screen is included with it. You can scale up or scale down as needed. You can do that through roles, or we also have some out-of-the-box permission sets that can be applied. And we'll be covering certain key areas of this in today's demo, and we'll get to that slide here in just a second and then dive right in. But as far as we can help in areas like resource management, so within an individual resource, you can handle billing and cost rates. They can be a part of a single or multiple teams. You can also build out a detailed skilled matrix, and then through the scheduler, which we'll be covering a little bit later, that's going to actually be your resource capacity planning tool. So it's going to give you a calendar view, show you all your resources on the left. Across the top, you can see from 1 day all the way up to 52 weeks, and then you can move work around directly associated with those projects and see if any of your team might be overloaded. So it really helps in the resourcing area. I'll demonstrate today also the resource assignment wizard. That's going to show you how you can pull in more than one basically action owner. In that case, it'd be a contributor onto an action within a project. We also have a reassignment wizard within Mission Control, where you can quickly and easily reassign work on the project level or also on the individual role level. Role utilization reports going to show you billable performance on a week-to-week or a monthly basis. You can also see any type of holiday management within the system. For kicking off a project, we'll be covering today the auto generation from an opportunity. You can also clone a project, and then we have a milestone loader where you can look back to a previous project or a template and actually build out an existing project on the fly. As far as management, we can handle both agile and waterfall methodology. Project overview gives you a 360-degree view of one particular project. We have a really nice whiteboard, Gantt chart that comes complete with baseline tracking. You can create dependencies and identify critical path. You can handle risk and issue management on the project level, as well as through the progress pad in our main console. You can see all of your risks across multiple projects or issues across multiple projects through one screen. We have a PMO dashboard that shows you your cost and schedule performance index. So basically whether your projects are on track or not. And then your stakeholders, that's actually going to be tied over here into the status report. So for each project, you can build out key stakeholders. You choose the day and the time when you want that project status report to send out, and it'll send on a weekly basis. In order for them to receive that, they do not have to be users, so it could be client facing. As far as time tracking, you can fully handle time tracking within the system. You can account for billable, non-billable time. We have a start and stop tracker. I'm going to be demonstrating the timesheets as well as the timesheet approvals. And then we also have a calendar converter that's going to give your users a more visual way of logging time within the system. For financials, on a very high level, you can record a payment. You can also issue an invoice, and then you can handle any type of credit within the system. And then I always like to point out that we can handle any type of multi-currency support. For program management, I'll mention that this is going to be typically used in the development of software, specifically around the agile methodology. So within the program planner, you can build out a long-term roadmap of work that needs to be delivered, documenting detailed requirements. You can build out user stories, leverage the storyboard, and then you would pull in your requirements into your project builder and actually convert those into actions and slate that work to be done underneath milestones. You've got some program analytics and then access into the Gantt chart and the whiteboard. I won't be demonstrating this feature today, but if you do have any interest in it, please just let me know in chat and I'll be more than happy to send some follow-up information around that. As far as collaboration wise, you'll have access to chatter throughout the platform so you can communicate with team members. We have a meeting manager where you can handle ongoing meetings within the system. You can also log notes and export those as a PDF. You can also account for your time directly against the project within the meeting manager as well. You can attach files to your project. I mentioned the status report, but we also have a read-only link or a read-only page, excuse me. And in that case, the idea would be that you can share that read-only page. It's a URL and your clients or any colleagues could click through in real time and get a read-only view of that project. As far as productivity tools, I think we've talked through everything with the exception of the storyboard. Again, that's going to be, well, we did talk through that, so excuse me, but that's tied into the program management. But I didn't mention the action pad. Action pad, I'm going to demonstrate today. That's going to be a space on the project level where you can go through and check off that you've completed those actions. Also through the progress pad, you can see all of your actions across all of your projects to give you a more high level overview. So next, let's jump in and actually take a look at what we'll be covering in today's demo. So first, we're going to start off within project management. How do you create a project? We're going to actually do that from a closed-won opportunity. Then we'll dive into an existing project, and I'll show you what the project structure looks like and how you might be able to assign a resource. From there, we're actually going to look at the billing, how we might set that up, and then we'll take a look at invoicing. Then we'll move over into completing an action. So we'll do that from our action pad. We'll take a look at the Gantt chart so you can see that both on the project level, but I'll also show you a view of what we call the standalone Gantt chart. That's going to unify multiple projects into one view. And then finally, underneath project management, we'll take a look at the whiteboard. That way you'll be able to again, see all of your actions within a single space and be able to complete that work from there as well. Then we'll jump into resource management. I'll show you how to log time. We'll take a look at that scheduler, which is a resource capacity planning tool. And then finally, we'll take a look at the role utilization report, which again will show you billable performance for your resources on a week-to-week or a monthly basis. And then finally, we'll just open it up to any questions from chat from there. All right. So let's go ahead and dive in. So this is what it's going to look like when you come into Mission Control. You have your Mission Control console. Where you actually access it within Salesforce, you're just going to come over here to the app launcher, those 9 dots. You're going to click onto that. And when that opens up, I've got mine toggled up here, but you would also be able just to come in if you didn't see it there. You would see it right here and you'd just be able to click in and that's going to open up this console. So again, just on a brief overview, your launch pad, this is where you come in to launch anything new within the system. You've got your progress pad where you can log progress against your projects in here. Management pad is going to give you some access into some key reporting, and we'll be covering some of that a little bit later. And then finally, your control pad, think of this as your administrator panel. So this is where you're going to help set up notifications. You can also customize or enable a lot of features within Mission Control. So I mentioned that we're gonna create a project from a closed won opportunity. So I've got my opportunities list here. What I need to do is I need to come into an opportunity and just do a little bit of setup work, and then I'll show you how that would actually create the project. So we have this mission control auto generation setting, which is a part of mission control. And what we want to do is automatically create a project on a closed won status of this opportunity. So what I need to do here, I can see that the stage is prospecting. I need to go ahead and do that setup work. So in here, I can do it I can create that project based on an opportunity, or I can do it based on a product. In this case, I'm going to do it based on the opportunity. If I do that, it looks back to a previous project or template, and it will clone the entire thing. If I do it based on products, it associates products to milestones and will create more of a customized project for you. These are just going to be a variation of the top two. Again, we'll do it based on the opportunity method. And in this case, I'm going to pull in the Aprika website build master template in here. I need to tell it to generate the project, and I'm going to put in the start date as the 25th. So we go off and save that. Let's say that as a project manager, I've set up that work. Now, as a salesperson, I'm going to come in and just automatically, I've won this opportunity. So I want to close that. In this case, once we do that, my project's automatically created right here on the top right. And I can just click in to get a view of everything that's going on in that particular project. So you've got the idea here. And I'll be walking you through some of these key details here in just a second. So that's how you would create a project from a closed won opportunity. As far as assigning a resource and the overall project structure, let's do that through this particular project. This is going to be your principal technology website. When you come in, as far as the structure of the project, you have your project on the highest level. Underneath, you have milestones. Underneath there, you've got your actions. As far as the way that it looks like, think of your milestones as a container. Those are going to carry your actions. Actions are the same thing as a task within Salesforce. That's where you're going to log time, and it drives the entire project on the action level. So in here, I can see if I need to assign a resource on here, I can see that we've got design UI. I can see that Colin is assigned. I've got my start and my end date. I've got a bunch of red triangles here. That's just a visual indicator that it's due today or it's past due. If it's flagged up in orange, it means it's due tomorrow or in the next coming days. So those are just visual indicators within the project. But let's get into assigning another resource. I'm going to do that through this particular icon right here. This opens up the resource assignment wizard. And so now I can see that Colin is a project manager. He's got 6 hours of billable work in here. But this is where I might need to pull in somebody additional. So I'm going to say that I know that Kim can help out. And we're going to give Kim an hour and a half of that work. Just add Kim here. And if you'll notice, it takes that time and reassigns it to Colin. You also can set up teams within Mission Control. You can search by skills. So you can build out your own pick list of skills and apply multiple skills in there, as well as skill proficiency. One's going to be basic and then 5's advanced. Once you've put on all those search filters, we're going to pull in a calendar view. And so I'm just going to go off. And in this case, we've searched on the Easy Websites team. And now I can get some insight into what team members are working on. In this view, it's pulling that calendar view, but it's pulling in all of the work that's assigned on that team member from any projects they've been assigned to. So I can go through. And in this case, it looks like I've got plenty of time as well. So I'm just going to drag and drop, and I'll assign 2 hours there off to me. Once I've done that, you just go ahead and click save. You can hover over and you're able to see exactly who's doing what on that specific action within the project. So that's how you would assign the resource in here. Other things to note, thinking through as far as like the billing within the project and the setup that goes around that, you would need to go into the actual back end or underneath the hood of the project. And you're going to do that right here. Just go into edit. So in here, I can see that I've got the principal technology website. I can see who the project owner is, the account, the contact, and the opportunity. You can put in your project reference information. If I need to enable this as a template, you just simply check that off. You can also build out categories and subcategories within Mission Control. And I'll just go ahead and mention that we also have action types, milestone types, and time log types. In all of those cases, those can be used for data clarity and reporting. So now we're going to set up a little bit of our project financials. For billing type, you have fixed price plus expenses, time and materials, and then you have a new option that's called controlled by milestones. Controlled by milestones is just going to be any of these top three. It's just controlled on the milestone level. In here, we're putting in our project budget, hours per day. I've got my billing rate, which I charge out to the client, cost rate, what charges internally to do that work. And then the options are the same. So you have standard, which is just a flat fee. Role-based is based on the individual role rate that you've assigned to that resource. And then skill-based is based on the individual skill assigned to that resource and associated with the action within the project. In this case, we've chosen standard. I can see what my billable day rate, as well as my cost day rate might be. I can account for any type of overtime in here. You can also, let's say this project was internal and there was no billing associated, you would just check off non-billable. You can change the color on the whiteboard or the scheduler within the project. And then down through here, we've got some timesheet approvals. You also have some additional functionality. And then we get into the actual billing information. So you can put in your purchase order. We can handle multiple tax rates. And then we get into the different billing cycles. So we've got 4 different types within Mission Control. Manual is going to be the first one where you can where you can manually raise an invoice. Milestone level, it'll automatically send the invoice on the completion of a completed milestone. Periodic, we've got some periodic timeframes that are set up where it'll automatically send the invoice, and then we have retainer based. So any of those will be an option for you within the different type of billing cycles that you've got set up. So I'm going to leave that one on milestone in here. Also, just to note, everything on the right-hand side will automatically fill out as you're going through the project. And then I always like to put in here that you can put in your anticipated expenses, and then your team can log those as you go through. So now we've got the project set up. We'll go off and take a look at the billing within here. So one thing to note before we go and take a look at that billing tab, real quick, we do have an Insights tab. As I mentioned before, this gives you a 360-degree view of this particular project. So in here, I can see my project budget, my completed overdue actions, a risk summary, who owns that project, and then it's going to show me my cost, my CPI and my SPI, which is my cost performance index, and my schedule performance index. In here, basically, that's telling you if the project's on track. I also can see what the budget might be doing as far as my hours, P&L summary, and then invoicing within the system as well. As far as billing goes, you would just click into that tab. This is going to show you your billing event summary as well as your invoices. Here I can see I've got invoicing and credits. And then I can see what the overall budget is, how much we've invoiced, what's the outstanding amount remaining, and then the amount paid, and then anything that might be outstanding as well in here. So in here, we've created our different billing events. Underneath there, you've got your billing event items, which would be your charges. And then if you actually need to see the invoice that's created, you're just going to go through and click through that PDF. In this example, just note that you're going to be able to put in your own logo up here. And in this case, we've got some basic information that we've set up through a control or admin pad around our own key information. And then this is just going to be detail pulled over from your actual project in here. Or if you've created manually, then you can manually create some of that information as well. So that's going to cover as far as your billing and what you're looking at around there. Next, let's go back into that project and look at how you might actually use our action pad to complete a few of those actions within here. So action pad, again, is going to be a space on the action level where as a user, I can jump in and I'm going to see some key details around my actions in here. But first, let's start up with our summary charts. So I've got my action summary. I can see that I've got 6 actions in here. I can see what's overdue and my hours in here, as well as if we had any checklist items. You can build out checklist items as a sub list underneath actions. Just think of those as like a checklist, as like a to-do list or a punch list. If the work has to be delivered, it's always suggested that you would build it as an action within the project. So in here, let's go off and do a little bit of work around here. So when I come in, we'll just stay with this design wireframes in here. I can see its plan, the hours, when the start and the end date. And again, I've got that flag telling me that it's overdue. I can see who's the action owner. In this case, it's going to be Colin. I could access the resource assignment wizard from here. I'll just open this up to show you. I can log time or I can start time tracking. So you've got the choice there. If I need to log an issue, I would be able to do that directly in here in the system as well. And just for context, issue is something that we would say is impacting the particular project that needs to be resolved. So you would be able to do that. And then you also have the ability to build out checklist items. So in there, if we needed, we'll just do this and we'll say, I'm going to assign this and we'll do item 1. So in that case, we've assigned that checklist item that we've got there, and it should show, if we refresh, it'll show up the top there. Now, let's say that we're going through here. Other things to note, if I want to see any of the action detail, then what I'm going to do is actually click onto the action, open up that action detail, and just go underneath edit. This gives me a lot of key information in here. So for example, I can go through, here's where I was mentioning, you've got different types of action types, and you'd simply build out your own pick list to meet your own team's needs. Through here, you've got a lot of other key data, other things to point out. Down here, you can also input any type of notes that you might want. On the action level. You could include a hyperlink or photo if needed. From there, you can also communicate with team members directly on that action. You would do that through Chatter, which is going to be right in here. And now if I've completed that particular one, then we would just go through and check that off, and that's going to show through as completed. There's our checklist item that showed up on the top right there. And again, this also exists on the progress pad. Let me just go ahead and show that to you. If we go in through our progress pad and I come in here, I'm able to see all the actions across all of the projects in here. So this gives me a unified area where I can go to see everything that my team is working on. You also have some filtering capability. If you use custom filters, then you would be able to filter up here. So I could build out my own custom filter here, or you simply go through and apply multiple filters to find what you're looking for on the action level, as well as you can do a keyword search in here. All right, let's go back in and let's take a look as far as our Gantt chart. Give me 1 second here. What we're looking at right here is going to be called your standalone Gantt chart. It also exists on the project level, but we'll just stay on this particular one for our demonstration purposes. So first thing to note, when you come into it, it's fully interactive. So I can drag and drop. If I need to reschedule anything, you can do that. If you'll notice, we've got some dependencies, and when we move that first action over or the second action over, it automatically created critical path, so we can handle both of those. In this case, you can also turn on and off baseline dates to see how your projects are performing. I have the full ability, if I need to, I can also not just move them, but I can extend that action out. I can also double click. So I can go through here and I can make any key changes. I can change the priority. Medium would flag that up in orange, and then high is going to change that up in red for you. So you've got the ability here. Other things to note, if I need to change anything on design UI, I'm just going to say design UI, and we'll just make this easy. We'll just put in 1, 2, 3. If I needed to add an action, I could put, let's see, we would just go to the level above. So let's put in, we'll just put verify UI. So maybe something like that, and we'll just go off and hit confirm. That's going to add it directly in here. Just on a side note, any changes we're making through here, if you see this orange triangle up here, that just means you haven't saved it. Typically, it's going to be here and through our scheduler. You'll just want to make sure that you go off and save that, and then that will be saved across the system. So in here, again, in this standalone Gantt chart, I'm looking at multiple projects in one view. So if I need to collapse this information down, I can do that through here. and that just gives me a view of all of my projects. What I really like in here is that you have, again, clicking into that filter, you're able to filter in a lot of different ways. So you can set up your own pick list of categories. You can also do it by account, opportunity. You have a lot of different choices in here, and then you can apply multiple filters. Again, this view really gives you a high level overview for all of your projects, and are they on track, and so it just gives you a really good view within our system. All right, so from here, I've looked at my projects. Now let's say that I need to go in and continue some work within an individual project or across a couple of projects. I may want to do that through our whiteboard. So that's going to be in here. When you come into it, again, it's listing all of your projects as if they were sticky notes on a whiteboard in your office. The first thing to note is that right off the bat, I can drag and drop if I need to complete that action, and that's going to go off and show that as completed. Other things, I can reassign resources directly from here. So I can just drag and drop and move those over as well. So you can really get a good idea if you need to do that. And then walking you through the actual cards here, I've got my PAN number, which is a randomly assigned action ID number. I've got my action project. I can see that I've completed 0 out of 4 hours. And then I also have that end date warning in here. Again, I mentioned I can see who's doing the work, access into chatter, build a checklist item. I can log an issue. I can log time or use time tracking. And then you just have action summary. So you can do a lot from here. And in my mind, this is one of the best spaces that you can come in and work as a user across multiple projects. Once the work's assigned, I could literally stay in this page and work most of what I need to do within Mission Control from this single screen. Other things to note, typically I would want to come in and see this information for myself. The way that you could do that, you're going to be able to come in over here to the whiteboard filters. If you had one set up, certainly you could do that. Otherwise, I would just come through here and simply filter it down. So here I'm going to say, I want to see everything that I'm responsible for, and we'll just modify that into a month. So we'll just take it to the 17th there and go off and filter. Now this is filtered down to everything that I'm responsible for. I could simply start moving those actions around if I need to slate that work in a different order. And then as I complete those actions, again, I'm just going to drag and drop and move those over. If I do want to log time, just as a note, again, I know I mentioned it, but it's super simple to do directly from here. You're just going to come in through here and say, how many hours did we complete? I'm going to say that I've done 2 hours within here. And now you would just go off and you would be able to log that time. All right. All right, so from here, last 2 things, you are able to change anything within the column heading. So you're able to do that, as well as through the summary field down in here. You would just go through here and make any adjustments from there. All right. And staying with the theme of time logging, next we'll take a look at how a user might be able to jump in and log time within the system. So when you come into your timesheets, this is going to load up for a single user. It lists everything that they're assigned to, whether they're an action owner or contributor, and you're actually logging time specifically again against those actions. So if I needed to, I could come in and simply say that I've worked an hour and a half there, maybe a half an hour of non-billable. Within there, if I double click, you're able to make any type of notes. So in that case, just like quick note here that worked on client framework, something like that. And then here I mentioned you also have time log types, so I could go off and save that information. If you notice, it's automatically populating down here as we go. Other things to note, you may see these grayed out numbers here. Those are going to be the numbers that are automatically assigned from existing project work. They're pulled in. And if I wanted to save those, I could simply come in and hit save suggested hours, and that's going to save that time. And then I would simply hit save and submit timesheet when I'm completed with this timesheet, and it would pull in everything for you. Other things to check out here, we've got a start and stop tracker. So that one was started a couple days ago. We'll go ahead and adjust that back down to 5 hours. And I'm going to go off and save that within here. You can also, as far as what you're looking at within here, you can completely change that UI if you'd like to. You're able to hide a lot of information or enable it depending on what your needs are. And then other things to note, uh, in here, you've got this utility bar at the bottom. You'll be able to see this wherever you're at in mission control. So at any point, I can do basically common activities within the system. So in this case, if I needed to log time, you could simply log time in there as well. Other things to note, since we are built natively as far as right on top of the Salesforce One mobile app, this is what a mobile screenshot might look like. These are actually 3 screenshots just from an Apple device, but this is what it might look like for a user to log time on the go. Just things to note. You can also put in those notes there, and I can attach a photo or if I need to of that particular work. In here, I'm also mentioned that you can log time through our calendar converter. This gives you a more visual way. It's going to pull through any type of actions from your projects that user's been assigned. It'll also pull through any type of Salesforce events from your Salesforce calendar, and you can actually connect that to the project and log time there. And then the final way is I would be able to drag and drop, and then I can just simply fill out those key details. So I would simply come in and say what project, what milestone, what action, and then go off and log time. So those are all the different ways that a user could log time within the system. And then you also have approvals within here. So in this case, we'll take a look at Kim. In one click, I'm able to go through and I can approve that in one click, as well as if I needed to send anything back, I could do that. Or if I needed to clarify with Kim through Chatter, I could simply do that as well. As far as approval types, you have that both on the project manager, and you also have a role manager approval in there as well. So you would be able to do that on those 2 levels. So moving from here, as far as timesheets into scheduling, that's going to be handled in our scheduler, which is a resource capacity planning tool. When you come into this is going to show me all of my resources on the left-hand side. And then across the top, I can get a view from 1 day all the way up to 52 weeks. In this case, it's showing me all the project work that's automatically assigned based on the actions within the project. I can hover over and I can see key details within that specific action. I can also look immediately to the left and see if somebody's over allocated. If I need to, I can come in to this hours total view. And this is going to instantly show me where those over allocations might occur. So it looks like throughout this particular view in the scheduler, I would need to reassign quite a bit of work. And the way that you can do that is you just simply come back in here and hover over and reassign work to other relevant resources. So in this case, if I knew that Ember could take that work, simply move that. For whatever reason, if Ember said, no, we actually need to move that into next week, then you'd be able to do that there. And if she needed it put over 3 days, you would simply do that by extending that action from there. Also note, you have your filtering capability, just like through the whiteboard and through the action pad, but you can set up your own preset filters and apply multiple filters in here to find the most relevant resources to deliver that work. Other things within the scheduler to note, if I click onto your projects view, that's going to just roll up into all of your projects. So I can see it's taken those actions, and then you would be able to see the overall project information for that. Other things to note, you've got your meetings being pulled in from your Salesforce calendar, so you're able to do that. And then here you can account for any type of time off through our holidays that will show up in here. In this case, that's PTO. You also have hours detail. This is going to show you your billable, your non-billable work, any type of holidays and events. So this is extremely helpful. And then finally, you've got your financials. When I click in here, it's going to show me what each resource is billing on that particular day. So again, overall thought around scheduler, it's a great space as far as if you're looking to use it for planning your team's work, and then on a weekly or monthly basis, whenever you do that type of planning, to see if they have enough on their plate or if you need to move work off of their plate. Next, we'll take a look over at our resource, or excuse me, our role utilization report. When we come into this one, this is going to be tied into our reporting. I always like to mention that Mission Control is made up of 45 objects within Salesforce, and you're able to report on any of those 45 objects. So if you don't see something that quite fits your needs out of the box, then you're able to create your own reports and dashboards based on the data that you have from Mission Control from those objects. So this one, it comes ready to go out of the box. This is going to be our role utilization report. Again, this one's going to show you billable performance on a week-to-week or a monthly basis. So when I come into it, I've already set this one up, but just note, I can do this by teams, or I can also set this up according to a single role. I've put it on a monthly view, and I've selected March 1st to May the 18th to go through and take a look at that. So in this case, I can see all of my resources associated with that Easy Websites team, and I can see what's billable, non-billable, anything that might be excluded, and holidays. And here we have our total hours as well as our billable hours. So this is going to show me for that resource. In this case, it's myself. I can see what the utilization is. I can also see what the billable target and then scheduled performance is. Just a quick note on utilization, that's actually determined on the role level. It's just hours per week and a billable target. Once that billable target, and the billable target is just a percentage of the hours per week. Once that's reached and it's over, it's going to show through on the scheduler and also here on the role utilization report. Down through here, I can see the other team members and what's going on with each of them. And then finally, at the very bottom, this is just going to give me a team roll up of how everybody's performing across the board. All right, well, that will conclude for today's information as far as around the demo. Let me go ahead and just put back up the slide. And does anybody have any questions that you can think of at this point? If you do, just drop those questions directly into chat, and I'll be more than happy to answer those. All right. Let me go ahead, and I've got a couple of questions ready to go as well. One, is it possible to log time on behalf if you have outside contractors within the system? And the answer is going to be yes, you can. You would be able to go in as what we would call a contact. That could be an outside contractor, and you could log time on behalf through our timesheet in there. Another one would be, what's the average time that it takes to fully get going with Mission Control? And we typically say that you can be up and running with everything, team using it within a month's time frame. So that time frame is fairly quick within the industry. All right, any other questions? Let's see, I got another one in here. Can we create one project referencing multiple opportunities? For that one, I would have to, let me get back to you on that one. I'm not 100% sure on that particular one. So let me just do that. Sure, absolutely. If you don't care, just drop your email address in there just so I'm clear on it, and then I'll get back with you on that particular question. All right. Any other questions or anything else that you can think of today that I can help with as far as within Mission Control, or just ways that you might use it, any type of use cases? Can you create multiple projects from one opportunity? You would be able, instead of multiple projects, you could create, let me double check. Typically, we would say that you can create multiple milestones based on doing it on the products method. So I would be interested to see. Can we build Kanban for departments? In that question, are you talking about views, or are you just talking about like sorting all of your information for that particular team, if that makes sense? In a view. Okay, so as far as views go, I could sort through based on that team. You can customize the top swim lanes, but it's not going to be done by department. It would only be for like, you would do it within the control pad or the admin pad for one view. So it's not going to be based on, I don't think it's going to be quite on the reference that you're looking for there. Any other questions? All right. Well, again, I certainly appreciate everybody's time today. Let me go ahead and show you, if you are interested in getting started with Mission Control. Again, super easy to do. Just go to the App Exchange for a free trial. Basically, click download, or you're going to click the Get It Now button. You'll be sent over a quick start guide. That's 12 pages of information. That's by far the easiest and fastest way to get going with Mission Control. It only takes a couple of minutes to install. You can do that into production or a sandbox. And then you can also, we've got a knowledge base article around creating sample data where you can create 2 projects instantly. And then finally, just as a note, you can always request time with us. So if you need to talk about anything further, I'll certainly able to book a demo out and jump on a call and help out in any way I can. And then I'll just go ahead and mention our support and resources. So we offer full resources online, things like Learn Mission Control, which is our online learning portal. It's modeled after Trailhead. Your users can actually self-pace and learn the information that way. We also have a complete knowledge base, user guide, and videos. And then if you need any additional support, you can always reach us at that email address. We'll get back to you within 1 business day. And in most cases, that's going to be complete with a resolution. All right, let's see. I've got another question in here. I'd like to build a Kanban board which shows departments' busyness and project IT on Salesforce departments like project managers, designers. I can call you tomorrow. Okay, no, that's absolutely fine. Just reach out on that. In that case, what I would see is if you wanted to do it in that matter, you would just build your different departments like project managers or designers. You can actually, we have an asset role within the system, so you'd be able to do that. But yeah, just reach out to me tomorrow and I'll be able to help. All right, awesome. And if there are no other questions, then I'm just going to move over to our last slide, which is just, again, a sincere thanks for your time. I know that's everybody's busy, but I certainly appreciate everybody's time today. So thank you so much, and I hope you have a good day. Cheers.